So let us begin our time together this morning with our identity statement. Take it for a moment and remember why we're here and what we're being called to do. So we are a vibrant community dedicated to celebrating spiritual freedom and sharing abundant joy through love, prayer, and service. And so it is. Amen. Now let's just continue on in that place of prayer. Quiet and still. Perhaps you'd like to close your eyes. Bring all of your attention now to your heart space. Breathe in and out through that heart space for a few moments. And feel the love that is God in your heart. It might come to you as you take a few moments to appreciate all of the wonderful blessings that are here for us in our own life and in the life of our spiritual community. As we join together in the prayer of the heart. So as we feel that love and we feel that appreciation in our heart, we realize that we can radiate that out. We can give it to ourselves, to love and appreciate who we are, to find compassion for our journey that we've been on, to just love ourselves. And then we can radiate it out from us through our energy field. Share it with all the people who are here in this room today. Feel our connection in that love. For in love we know our oneness. And then we can radiate it out through this building. An energy field that connects with a greater energy field and goes wherever it is sent in our world. So let's remember this morning the people in Texas, that horrific flood that's happening there, the people who are losing their lives, they're losing their homes, stuck in their cars as the waters surge. Let's send them our love from the one heart as the one heart, so the great field of love comes to them and they know in their heart that God is with them. And let's send it out to all the people in the city of Charlotte. Feel hearts opening. Feel it's coming together in this magnificent city we live in. Experience our oneness. Then let's send it out to the world. Send it out to the troubled places in our world. Places that need our love today. See hearts opening. People feeling that love and sharing that love and getting along with each other. Helping each other, caring for each other in wondrous ways. And hold that vision. Our physical eyes may not see that, but the eyes of our heart know it's there underneath all of this. We just have to bring it forward. And as we come back to this room now filled with love, we settle into it for our time together. We remember the people in our life we'd like to share love with today. We can do that by sending the love to wherever they are, or bringing their presence here so we can connect heart to heart. So just taking a few moments to pray for those people you would like to pray for. And on this day, when we begin a month of gratitude, be thankful and appreciate all of these people, all the people who have touched our life in any way. And if there's anyone it's hard to love, send them lots of love today. Open hearts to connect. So we feel that love around us. We feel that love within us. And we say thank you to God for all the blessings that are bestowed upon us always. Thank you for our time together today. Thank you for your never-ending guidance that gets us exactly where we need to go with exactly what we need. And so it is. Amen. So just taking a few moments to still feel that love with our eyes open, and we look around the room and see all the wonderful people who are here and how blessed we are to be together. So this spiritual journey that we're on is one of evolution. It's a time of growth, it's a time of transformation, and it's a time of change as we become more like our Creator. And in this time that we're living in, we know there is a lot of change going on. This is the way Neil Donald Walsh said it for us to look at. He said, "A new world is upon you, and all the people in this world. A different tomorrow waits for us." He said, nothing is going to be the same as it was before. Not your politics, not your finances, not your work life, not your relationships, and certainly not the way you experience your spirituality. He said all of it's changing, and all of it's going to continue to change. So over 40 years ago, Claire Graves, who is the founder and the development of the human movement, had a sense of this evolutionary change that we find ourselves in now. He said it was more than a transition. He said, and he wrote this, humans must prepare for a new momentous leap. It's not merely transition to a new level of existence, but it's the start of a new movement in the symphony of human history. He called this the most difficult and the most exciting time that we could possibly live in, or that has ever been for the human race that we're part of. And he said, we're probably all aware that the symphony has begun to play. And we're all aware that the changes are upon us most every day. And it was Ezekiel, the Old Testament prophet, who served as a light in an age where the people were in captivity, they were struggling, they were uncertain, and they were in great despair. But he led them through this time by listening to the voice of God. And God guided him and told him what to do so the people would make it through that age that they were living in. And these are the words of God that came to Ezekiel. And this is in Ezekiel 36:26. This is what God told Ezekiel. The hearts of the people have grown dull. I'm going to give them a new heart. I'm going to put a new spirit in them. And I'm going to take out their heart of stone and put a heart of flesh within them. This is what God's calling us to do today. This is a call to open our hearts, to open them all the way, over and over again. Because over time, the prophecies of ancient cultures have come back to us, and particularly in this time, we're becoming more aware of things that were said and things that were known before we even came on this earth. For example, the Hopi Indian tribes. They had predictions for a rainbow nation. Their prediction was of a time that would come as a healing time on planet Earth. And all people would come together, all races, all creeds, all cultures, all colors. There would be no separation. And they would come together in a great flowing rainbow that would be across our nation. What a beautiful image they have brought for us for what we're called to do today. And I go back and I think about those ancient Mayans. I love them. I love their predictions. In their culture, we had ages. They made calendars based on what they saw in the sky and made ages that we would live in. Then what happened? The calendars ended. They ended at the end of the year 2011. And it brought us to this place, what's 2012 going to bring us? What will happen? Is this the end of the earth, or is this a new way that's unfolding that we don't even know yet? And then with great synchronicity, what happened, in the middle of 2011 in a big archaeology dig, they found the calendar room. So as this age we were living in, which was the age of change, we would move into the new age they found in the calendar room, and that was the opening of the spirit in all living things. And we know what that spirit is, and we know it's in us and it's in all of life. That's the age they said we're going to be living in, that we are living in right now. Then that age, when we get it and we get the spirit open, would lead us into years and years and thousands of years of oneness. Just like our daily word said today. And then Jesus came on earth and told us how we could open up our heart, how we could set that spirit free. And he didn't just tell us about it. He commanded us to do it. He gave us the commandments to love God, all our heart, with all our soul, with all our mind, to love our neighbor, to love ourselves, to love one another. Over and over he brought us the gospel of love. So we can look at the conditions happening in our world today over and over, the things we don't like. And we can see it is now time to bring those awarenesses forward and to bring those commandments into the way we live our life. For it's love that will bring us into the predictions of the year of oneness. That's the opening of the Spirit. It was Martin Luther King Jr. who said, "We must learn to live together as brothers and sisters, or we're going to perish together as fools." Certainly we don't want to do that. And it was the Dalai Lama that said, "Love is our survival in this world, learning to love." So here we are, called into a new way of living, a new way of being. Neil Donald Walsh again, the modern day prophet, he left us with a question. The question was for each of us to ask ourselves, with all these changes going on and all the things we know about the world and what we're being called to do and what we're called to bring on this world, he said, the question is the only question remaining. Will you be part author of the continuing changes or merely be impacted by them? So quiet and still. Taking a breath of the breath of life. Feeling that oneness. And letting the veil be lifted from our spirit. Setting our spirit free. In this moment of quiet and stillness. So imagine you are standing on a hill this morning, looking out over space. It's beautiful, it's quiet, and you look up in the sky and you see the rainbow the Hopis described. You see all people coming together, all differences set aside, and that rainbow coming up over the mountain, the rainbow nature being born today. Hold that vision for a moment and know that it is possible. Then standing on this mountain, feel that spirit of all living things in you. As your very nature, feel that now. It's a living, moving, breathing presence. It's the energy of the divine, seeking expression in this earth through you. Feel that. For a moment as you look out over the mountains and the rainbow and feel that spirit in you, ask yourself, what can I do to set my spirit free? What can I do to work for the Rainbow Nation? What can I do to bring it forth? Will I be an author of these changes? Or will I be impacted by them and complain about them and judge them? It's a choice for us to make today. So looking out, you see the rainbow, feeling the freedom of the mountain. You might make a decision today to set your spirit free, to be that divine presence in the human form on planet Earth. One heart opening at a time, bringing us into those years, thousands of years of oneness, when we know why we're here and who we came here to be. When there is love and there is light, there is peace and harmony and healing and oneness. So reflecting on those questions for a few moments in the silence. What can I do today to help the Rainbow Nation be formed? What can I do today to set my spirit free? Reflecting for a few moments in the silence. In the silence. Thank you for all the wondrous opportunities you bring us to bring more of our spirit forward in this world. To be who we came here to be. To serve you in the way we're called to serve you in these changing times. We are so grateful. You are so good. We feel your presence. We live in your presence. We live as your presence in these changing times. And so it is. Amen and amen.
Welcome, Holy Spirit.
Oh, welcome, Holy Spirit.
We are in your presence.
Yes, we are.
Fill us with your power. Live inside of me. Welcome, Holy Spirit. We are in your presence.
Yes, we are.
Fill us with your power. Live inside of me. You're the living water, never dying fountain, comforter and counselor. Take complete control. Welcome, Holy Spirit. We are in your presence.
Yes, we are.
Fill us with your power. Live inside of me. Fill us with your power. Live inside of me.
Good morning. It's good to be at Unity of Charlotte this morning because I feel the Spirit doing a work this morning. There's just some of those times that you just feel something is happening and working, and I feel that this morning. So please be open to the Holy Spirit as it ministers to all of you that are here, according to your desires and according to what it is that you are making intention for in your life. Receive ye. Receive ye. I want to welcome all of you this morning to our morning service of reflection and celebration. If we have anyone for the first time, we would love to know about you. If you would raise your hand. We're all home folk. Look out. Thank you. There's got to be one. We welcome you this morning. And we also want to welcome you who are joining us through television and also through the YouTube.
On a road to heaven is paved with hard intentions now. I dig deep in your soul, brother, tell me your condition now. Keep your wallet in your pocket, no cost for admission. Out here Jesus is the resident physician, don't you know? Out on God's road,
God's road.
The road to hell is paved with good intentions now. How it winds and it curves, and you better pay attention now. On the road to hell, there's a lot of competition. Lonely folks suffering from soul malnutrition, don't you know? Out on God's road, I said
God's road.
oh, pump it up, gas it up, go with the flow. Post up a sign, don't heavy burden be. Jack it up, don't back it up, and don't pass go. Up ahead, just another crossroad on God's road. Oh, God's road. I said now pump it up, gas it up, go with the flow. Post up a sign for the heavy burden payload. Jack it up, don't back it up, and don't pass go. Up ahead, just another crossroad on God's road. I said on God's road. Get on the road.
On God's road.
I hear what I'm saying now. Get on the road.
On God's road.
I hear the song I'm playing now. Get on the road.
On God's road.
No lefts or rights. Get on the road.
On God's road.
Don't stop at the light. Get on the road.
On God's road.
Oh, stay in your lane. Get on the road.
On God's road.
Nowadays the roads ain't the same. Get on the road.
On God's road.
Oh, direction clear. Get on the road.
On God's road.
No map quest here. Get on the road.
On God's road.
Of a milk and a honey now. Get on the road.
On God's road.
You don't need no money out on God's road. On God's road. On God's road.
On God's road.
I'm talking this morning on evolutionary drivers. I love this little guy in the red car. He's going, and he's going right up the hill. I'd like to begin this morning with where I first heard this term was a wonderful experience of meeting a great visionary of our time, Barbara Marx Hubbard. And she says, and I quote, "The lessons of evolution teach us that problems are evolutionary drivers, and crises precedes transformation, giving a new way of seeing and responding to our personal and planetary situations." So if you were here in this congregation this morning and you happen to believe that you came to earth to fulfill a mission, or maybe you believe also that you are destined to meet certain people and learn new things to attain that mission. Also, you may believe we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and it would be like there would be, to me, if that's true, some kind of plan, a blueprint for us to fulfill the time while we're on this planet. We know that from the Christian perspective that it teaches pre-existence. Strangely enough, a lot of Christian denominations and religions do not acknowledge that, and yet they acknowledge the Bible. And oftentimes they don't know what's in their Bible. I do wonder. But their Bible, our Bible, says that we were found in God before the foundation of the world. And we were found holy and blameless with all spiritual blessings. Ephesians 1, 3, 4. Again, that shows us that we had an existence before we came into these physical bodies. I want to talk on something that people call soul contracts. The concept of soul contracts serves as guides to get us where we have chosen to get in our purpose for incarnating. There are no accidents. Everyone has a purpose and comes with a purpose and a blueprint. Sometimes this is called the book of life, your life. Your life is a book. Your life is a script. A part of what we call the soul holds that script. There's a higher part of our soul that is connected more to our spirit, and there's a lower part of our soul that is connected to our physical human experience. But the higher soul, which is connected to the heart, helps us to bridge the divine and the human. That is the intent of the heart, is to allow that to become one thing rather than separate. Gary Zerkoff, I'm sure you've heard of, who wrote the famous book, what was the book? Something of the Soul, Seed of the Soul, yes. I remember reading it way back in the 80s before Oprah got a hold of it. Oh, I want to say about Oprah. Has anybody seen her series of Belief? Isn't it amazing? It's probably the most wonderful thing that has been produced, are these 6 nights that she has produced, these documentaries on going into all the religions of the world. I can't even tell you what it's like. I'm sure they'll be out and available when it's all over. But I encourage you to see. I've not seen all of them, but I was so blessed. Oprah is definitely being used on a global level to give us an opportunity to come together, no matter what our backgrounds are. And what a great time. But he says before it incarnates, each soul enters into a sacred contract with the university. We are in a university. I call it God School 101 Earth. The contact with the universe to accomplish certain things. It enters into the commitment in the fullness of its being. Whatever the task that your soul has agreed to, all of the experiences of your life serve to awaken within you the memory of that contract and to prepare you to fulfill it. Part of my message comes from experience, and I'm learning that experience is becoming so much powerful than just speaking from just knowledge that we download in books and things like that. All that's good too. But when you are at this point of life, you have some experience. It is sad that that's one of the things we do, is we put aside our elderly people, and yet other cultures has revered them as those with great wisdom that we can learn from. Tell that to your children and your grandchildren. So, I will tell my story real quickly, and this is as quick as I can. I'll get through this. I came in at 10 months, which I thought was interesting. I just always thought it was interesting that I came in when I did, that I wanted to hold on another month. For some reason, I had to be born under a certain sign and time to set a precedence for myself. Also, as I came in, I began to recognize, and the only way I can describe it is an innate, inherent fear/anger that was weaved within my personality and my nature. How many know we all have a different tenure of personality? some people have more lean toward melancholy. Some people have a more joyful. I mean, we all have a different tenure of kind of how our personality is that's natural to us. It's very natural to us. And when I came into spirituality in the 80s, I began to hear about these classes on healing the child within, Bradshaw's work. And we all flocked to those workshops thinking that what we needed to heal is something that happened after we got here. And I went through those classes and I just didn't feel a resonance with what everybody was talking about. Everybody was talking about child abuse and abandonment and parents that broke up. And I didn't fit any of those. I had a pretty good upbringing, had a pretty good family life as far as it can go. I really had no complaints about that. I had great parents who loved me. And I didn't fit into that. So that made me know that this was not the level of the cause of what it is I was trying to heal in myself. Then as I moved further into more new thought, new agey type thinking, I began to look into reincarnation as an answer. That maybe it was something from a past life somewhere. So I was able to be with some of the best hypnosis people and the best regression people. And I went through some of those to kind of see if it was back there. Found some interesting things, but it did not touch the cause of what I was looking for. Then I had an experience. And where I found the answer to this healing that took place was not in a past life, was not in my story as in this lifetime, but it was in between a lifetime. Between a lifetime. And I had this experience in which, I can't tell all of it, but I was before, it seemed like to me, 3 entities, and they were reviewing a little bit about this lifetime that I began almost 70 years ago. Soon, 70 years ago. Way too soon, 70 years ago. And they did that, and then they said to me, they didn't say to me, this is all telepathy, it's a whole, when you're in the 5th dimension, it's a whole different way of doing everything. Color's different, communication's different, it's all different. And it's hard to explain it in this dimension. But what was said to me, how I interpret it, was we need enough souls to volunteer to live out how many lifetimes it would take in linear lifetimes to reach it in this lifetime. And they said to me, the reason is because for many, many people, this is the last lifetime in this 3rd dimension. And I was one of those. And I know that in the depths of my soul. I can't say what you know, but I know I will not return back into this 3rd dimension. So, of course, yes, I'll go. Boy, you got to be careful when you make these contracts. All sounded good then. So they somehow figured out and told me, and why they told me this is because we live on a free will zone planet. And because through our free will, not enough of us has reached the level in consciousness collectively in which to stabilize the new norms that were coming into our planet from higher 5th dimension, 4th dimension to 3rd dimension. Therefore, it would take a critical mass of souls to enter into contracts that they would have to experience in this lifetime what it would take so many lifetimes to get them there in free will. For me, it was 4 lifetimes. So what I'm getting to is once I had this experience and understood that one, and this is important, I'm not a victim of God. We talk about victimizations, but we do not talk about the biggest one, and that is we feel our life is totally controlled by a God. There was no control. When I was in this place and experience, I didn't feel like anything was over me. I didn't think anything was different. I was everything. I was them. This was me. I was the color that I saw. I was the presence that was in the room. It was just totally at one with everything. But you see, I come from a religion that said God is in control. A separate God than me is in control of my life, and I don't have any choices. So at 16 years old, when I got the call, I got the call. We have to be concerned about these things, about God chose us and God called us. When it says God chose anyone or God chose a people, it meant they chose, and therefore they were known as the chosen. God didn't choose. It doesn't make sense to me that God would choose one nation of people over another nation of people. I don't serve that God. I don't serve a God that is respecter of persons. I do not serve a God who is racial. I do not serve a God that looks at things on a national level. You know, that which I worship and serve in my heart is a universal. My Father which is in heaven, in Aramaic, means my universal Father. So I felt God called me at 16, and what I discovered was I was just pissed. That I did not get to finish high school with my friends. I didn't get to go to a prom, and I was out preaching, pastoring my first church at 19 in the midst of Montgomery, Alabama in 63. Do I have to tell you more? I was thrown right into one of the most horrible times of our history, and yet one of the greatest times in our history. But it was a horrible time to be in that particular part of the country with so much hatred and so much going on under the watch of George Wallace and all of that going on. And I was just angry about it. Then I found out as I came in for my birth that I had this experience of being overwhelmed at the contracts that I've said. I'm going to come in as this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. Whatever it takes, whoever it takes into my life, I made a contract to allow them to come in as long as they were there as an opportunity to move me toward my destiny in this lifetime. Now, when you make those kind of contracts, that doesn't mean everybody in your life you're going to draw in is going to be pleasant. Come on, I'm trying to help you out here. You that sat and fume and carry on about, I wish I hadn't got into that marriage, and I wish I hadn't got into that relationship, and I wish I hadn't done that, and I wish, you know, all these kind of things that we could tell probably most of us. Wonder if we could shift that, have an inner miracle within our consciousness today, and move that to everyone is my teacher, and everyone was an opportunity for me to grow and to learn. Why spend your energy and time regretting the people that you have drawn into your life? As I was coming through, I became totally overwhelmed and fearful at what I had done. Now, when I understood the anger and the fear coming from that level, it was gone. Now, I have my fears and I have my stuff, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about my daily personality, David stuff. I'm talking about this innate thing was no longer within me. This is why I'm as bold as I am to get them to do what I do. I have no fear when it comes to spiritual stuff. None. Now, other things, woo. It's a spider. It's a snake. It's a different thing. I'm not talking about that. I don't like those things. But when it comes to being bold to speak, whatever it is that I feel God has given to me, I will do it because of that healing. Because that is not the nature I was born with. I was born as an introvert, very quiet, wanted to withdraw, not be seen. Can you imagine? But you who know me outside of here know that I'm a little bit that way. You know a different David completely. I'm rather quiet in my own way, in my own nature. But just get me up in the spirit. I'm ready to go. It's important that you understand that even though we have karma working into our life, which just merely means for every action there's a reaction. But I want to tell you, contracts trump karma. So you can't say, oh, well, I drew someone into this abusive relationship because I probably did something bad in another lifetime. Maybe not. You brought them in due to the contract of them becoming an evolutionary driver in your life. I've said this many times and I will say it again. I'm not up here before you, here in unity, where I am in consciousness, teaching what I'm doing because of the great, wonderful things of my life. They did not lead me to this direction. It was the worst things that happened to my life that made me dig deeper, that made me cross lines that I would not have felt comfortable. Places I was told not to go, things that I was told never to read. You know, I heard of this unity thing. You know, people drive by unity where I live and they say, that's where the cult people are. I say, whoa. But Helen, that was a projection. Because I was in the cult. No, it's been the challenges of my life. It's been how I've come in that I've had to dig deeper and go deeper into my life to understand. I regret nothing. And I know if you just check in your spirit right now, you'd probably find out you wouldn't do it any different than the way you've done it. You may think you would on the surface, but if you go into your heart mind, you will realize that everything that has happened has brought you to where you are today. By astrologically choosing the time and place of your birth, you determine the nature that affects you and your experience for your life. It's very important. I needed to be Sagittarian, I guess. I needed to be a fire sign. Now, you say, I don't remember any such things. I was blessed to have this experience, but most people don't. Mainly because the density of a physical body can make it difficult to remember what the soul sets up. The ironic thing is that one of the greatest challenges about being in the human experience, or being in the human experience, but also at the same time brings the greatest rewards. The purpose of everything in your life was for one reason: spiritual growth. Contracts work on spiritual and subconscious levels, but they're always there to help to guide your life. They can help set up the earthly circumstances, life situations, and people you encounter so you reach the level of fulfilling your soul purpose in this lifetime. If you could just for a moment grasp this idea, and that's all I'm asking. I'm not trying to convert anybody to this. I know my experience was my experience. It's not a belief. I had the experience and I know for myself that everything about me and who I am in this life, I helped to co-author, co-create. I said yes to. That takes out all of the, life's been unfair to me. Life has been too difficult for me. I didn't deserve it. These are the things that become the blockages. These are the things when we work with energy work and we're removing blockages, those are the blockages that end up in our energy is, I do not take responsibility for my life. This is the step that we're taking as we're moving out of all of this age of reductionism, dominion over Mother Earth, men over women. All of this time in which all we've done is end up developing an ego, which is a part of the process. Even the ego is a part of the process. The ego is about identity. Unfortunately, in the density of the human experience, we've totally forgot who we truly were. And how blessed we are in this community to at least to come to that level where we have at least opened up to this great idea that we are sacred divine human beings. But you know, we can say that all we want. We can believe that all we want. We can sing it in our songs all we want. We can minister from here all we want. But that doesn't mean that we're connected to it. You see these microphones and you see these lights. We would be right to say these are microphones and these are lights. But it doesn't mean they're actually producing ability to amplify sound and to put light into this room unless we turn them on and they're connected into something called electricity. It's good that I can say it's a light or a lamp, but if the lamp is not plugged in, it's not going to shine. And what we have to do with all this that we are looking at in the sense of mental beliefs and ideas is we've got to learn how to be connected into it. So if I plug in my lamp, I do not understand electricity. I could not tell you one thing about what electricity is and how it works. I just know if I plug it in and turn it on, the lamp's going to shine. This brings us to the question, why? Why? That's the big question. It's not what or how, but it is why would someone choose a so-called negative experience like a difficult childhood or an abusive relationship? Why? Or come into the world with a challenging physical situation. We have to realize that sometimes we learn from the toughest teacher. You may have been to the challenge at times that you thought it was unfair or it was difficult, but yet you came out of it with something you didn't have, something that would affect the rest of your life. It was hard while you were going through it, but then you become more empowered. The Bible talks sometimes that we need to watch those who just want to tickle our ears. Did you know that? In other words, that means I go where people tell me what I want to hear. People who affirm me all the time so I can validate myself and say, I'm perfectly right where I am, therefore not growing, not developing, not seeking, not expanding, and mostly not evolving themselves. I've said ever since I've come here that a community to me is not a dead organization, but it's a living organism, ever evolving, ever changing, and reinventing itself to fit the time. Time moves on. Do you think cars don't? Do you think clothes don't? Most of all of the things that you buy is a stream of change and evolution toward the more complex. Except religion. except most organized religion still tries to hold on to what the beliefs were hundreds and thousands of years ago with never looking at it. Now you've got a pope that is revisiting what does the church mean in our time. That's revolutionary. I call him a plant. I call these people a plant because I believe God has strategically planted some of his representatives in every system that's out there. He's got one in the medical, or two. He's got in science. He's got them in religion, education. Every one of them, God is visiting with an opportunity to say, let's revisit and relook at the system. And let's recreate it on a different vibration. Education is one that most concerns me. Too many children are coming in that don't fit the old model of education. And because of that, they're being punished for it and making the pharmaceutical company a little richer. We do not try to make our children fit old systems. We need to make old systems fit new children. We need to find another way in which they learn. They're wired different. We know they have different DNA. That is proven that most of us with only 20 out of the 64 combinations of DNA turned on, they have 24 and above. And are no longer human by the old criteria I'm quoting. They are no longer human beings by the old criteria. They're going to learn better with sound, vibration, music, color. But we're trying to make them to fit the old. That's the conservative idea. Let's go back and keep the status quo. There are new things emerging to the top of consciousness that is ready to burst in. That's why I love this idea of new entrepreneurship. I think that you are sitting here have no idea what lurks deep within your soul that is trying to come alive and awake and just needs a little guidance that's going to change your status. There's nothing wrong with wanting abundance. There's nothing wrong with making more money. I'll say it, money. You know, we dance all around the money thing. I do, because that's a touchy subject. But there's nothing wrong with having more money. And I'm sure you're going to find out if you're going to be a new entrepreneur, you're going to need money to do it. I've always said, God, give me money so I won't have a need for money. That's the only reason I want money, so I can totally eradicate any desire or need for it. But if Spirit says to me, last week I was in Phoenix ministering, and I wanted to go. I haven't been with these people for 30, 40 years. They invited me out there. I wanted to go. I knew it was a small group. I knew there would be a lot of money, but I still felt to go no matter what it looked like. But thank goodness I had the ability to do that by getting a plane ticket. I could go instead of saying, I can't afford to come to you, although my spirit is saying, go, I can't do it because I'm in some kind of a need or lack. We need abundance of health. There's too much going on with all of us. Way too much. We should be a healthy community. That's plugging the lamp in and letting the light of health shine. We need to be a blessed community. A people set on a hill that cannot be hidden. So I'm closing with this thought. This is where I'd like for you to visit in your meditations. are the things that have brought me to this place in my understanding and my consciousness, the contracts that I have made. I'm going to continue this next Sunday into the why of the hard questions. Why are people incarnated into bodies that have challenges? Why all of these things have happened in our life? I'd like to address that because I think you have a right to know, because we want to clear out any of the past stuff. We'll never move forward if we keep dragging the old baggage of feeling guilty and regretting and beating ourselves up because we think we made a lot of wrong decisions. I'd like for you to visit in a different way and see that everyone is your teacher and everyone was your opportunity to help you to grow. And now you're going to see a growth spurt like you've never seen before, which means some more harder, challenging things are coming. This is Finals, God School 101. So I think if we come in with these understandings, that we'll understand that.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
God bless. Have a wonderful week.